Hey, what is up guys? This is your source, and I wanted to do another brief video about a deck swap that I just did for the Verreal V1 electric skateboard. So as you can see right here, I have the old Verreal deck laying down, disassembled, taking the trucks, the ESC and the battery off, the motors, the hub motors, and I've attached them to this deck here. Now as you can see, this deck is a double kicktail deck, and if I hold actually the old Verreal deck up against this one, you can see that actually the kicktail deck is a good bit longer. Now it's not that it has a wider wheelbase, it actually is just slightly narrower. But I really like the idea of kicktails and the versatility that they offer. So, do I like this deck? Would I recommend you doing something like this? Well, that all depends. If you like the idea of changing up your riding style, having the versatility of a kicktail, and having the nose kicktail as well. A lot of boards do not have that out there on electric skateboards right now. Now the reason why I think a lot of them don't is because electric skateboards and longboards, they're really made for cruising, and you're pretty much, although a lot of boards do have a reverse feature, such as the Verreal, you're pretty much going to be going in one direction. You don't really use the reverse that much. But, I did like the idea of this deck, and I only talk about why I like it. Here's another comparison. As you can see, if I put these against one another, you can see that the foot placement can be a little bit wider on the widest parts. If I hold that up there, hopefully you can see it. I know it's a little bit of a challenge, but I like that the deck that I switched to is actually wider. It's a 10-inch at its widest deck. So since I have larger feet, I found it very beneficial. Looking at the Verreal deck here, you can see that it does have a fair amount of concave. It does have some, so you do feel that. However, as compared to the new deck that I put on, this one has a lot more concave. It's kind of hard to see with those kicktails in your way, but it definitely feels a lot more aggressive on the concave. You can tell the difference too whenever you're putting on the battery and ESC. Just a heads up, if you use a deck like this, be careful, because if you use the same holes on the foam, let me turn around this way here. If you use the same holes that are already cut into the foam to try to affix that to your board, you're probably going to find that as the plastic flexes on the battery case, that the holes won't line up. So just be careful. I ended up having to drill 2 extra holes for the battery case, which was a little irritating, but live and learn. So just a little side note for you. As you can see here, I have not cut a channel in for the cord that connects the battery and the ESC. I just electrical taped it onto the bottom of the board, just trying to decide whether or not I want to keep this deck on this board, or if I want to save it for another project, and if I want to really cut that channel in. I'll probably put some handles on this board if I keep it. I've kind of started to draw those out. That's super simple to do. To find the center of your board, just set it on a rail or a surface and find out where the center is, and then how large you want your handles to be. I really wish that on the Verreal board that had the handle cut in, that it was better balanced, but that's not something that is unique to Verreal. The other budget-friendly electric skateboards like Meepo, WowGo, Onboard, I believe they have the same misbalanced design for their handle. It's a great feature, just wish it was a little bit adjusted. Hopefully they're starting to do that now. But all in all, I really do like the deck. So you can see another thing that I tried with this one is actually these 1/2-inch risers. So the reason I did that is because, as you know, hub motors create a much harsher ride, and I wanted to see if that would reduce some of the road buzz and the vibrations that run through to your feet. I have taken it out just for a very brief ride, and the roads were not very good. It seemed okay. I don't know, I may take those off and go back down to the regular risers that came with the Verreal, which are, super slim. They're about an 1/8 inch, so just kind of normal risers there. But all in all, I do like the deck. I really feel locked in with the concave of this. It's very aggressive. As you can see, I did my own grip tape design. It's not very difficult to do. There's some great tutorials on the internet, on YouTube, of how to do that. It's not the best design, and I did it at night, so I was kind of tired, wanted to get it done. It's not the cleanest job, but it's been a long time since I've applied my own grip tape, and I'm by no means an expert, but good practice for next time. I will say that the kicktails, they do provide a fair amount of agility, like nimble element that you have now with riding this board. You can, pop up on either end, and that's really a nice feature. I like the size of them. You don't have to use them because the board is so long, so you can just ride, in the areas where you can put your feet at the widest parts as well. It is worth noting, though, that the kicktails are a little bit more difficult to use than, say, on the Riptide, just because with this board the battery is larger. I actually lengthened it out and pulled it out to where it's further away from the ESC than on the original board to help it feel more balanced, which it is more balanced. But the downside of that is it definitely takes more effort to pop up the front or back end, whichever way you're riding. But it's still doable, and you can actually do a turn just by tacking it around using the tail. So that is a really nice feature, and being able to kind of lift up the nose as you're riding through the streets. If you see something in the road, it's really nice, and actually I think it's a good safety feature as well. This deck is 10 inches wide at its widest point and 9 plies of Canadian maple and no bamboo, so it's a very stiff deck. I may even use it just to test it out and see if I like it with the Raptor 2 that I'm going to be receiving later on, hopefully in July. So anyways, that was just a brief video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. Possible option to change up your Verreal V1 if you do have that board. Just to note, I got this board, the deck, from longboardusa.com, and it's not that expensive. I think it was like $50 or $60. So it's a cheap way to kind of change up your riding and try to progress even in different ways. So it kind of adjusts the rideability of the board and keeps it fresh and new. So just a little tip for you. Hope you guys enjoyed it.